This is going to be the toughest fight of his career.
Sharp, relax.
The most embarrassing fight of his career.
Chair across your face.
Yeah, I think he's about to cry.
Good body head. Good, and again.
You look forward to facing off with Joshua. To break down the face off, what do you think about his size? What did you say anything? Did he say anything?
No, we didn't say anything, but he looks intense, focused, locked in. He's obviously very, very tall. Looking up, my tallest opponent. My eyes are at his, chest level. But yeah, he's locked in. I'm locked in. I don't think there's fear in his eyes or in my eyes.
Yeah, Jake, tell us the difference between your face-off with Gervonta, where you're a head taller, looking down, and now looking up.
No, it's surreal. All of it is very, very funny, and my neck started to hurt after looking up for a little bit. But this is what we signed up for, and he's very tall, but that means I can use my speed and my size to my advantage as well.
Inside Jake Paul's camp right now, something completely different is happening. This isn't preparation for another YouTuber. This isn't preparation for an ex-MMA fighter with slow boxing fundamentals. This is Jake Paul preparing for Anthony Joshua, a former unified heavyweight champion, one of the most explosive punchers of the last decade. And for the first time in his entire career, Jake Paul isn't just walking into a big fight. He's walking into a fight that most people believe he has absolutely no business being in, which means everything changes.
I don't know what he thinks, but what he does do is he markets himself in the space that he operates in. I don't get this Jake Paul or Logan Paul phenomenon, but I'm not the audience. It doesn't matter what I get. The opportunity for Netflix is that it's a drive to subscribe. They'll pay $100 million, and the wraparound fees that come from sponsorship and the event attendance. We saw that $20 million was generated in gate receipts for the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight. So we know this is $160 million fight. We know that it makes sense for Netflix to do it because in the last fight that they had with Mike Tyson and Jake Paul, they developed 2 million new subscribers. The average lifetime value of a subscriber is $900. So if you look at that and say they're going to generate $2 billion in potential increased revenues as a result of paying these fighters 100 million quid, you can see the metrics of it. They're also retaining their base. They're also moving content into a different space, which is sport. So it all makes sense. It's like the mobile phone industry that I knew very well used to sell phones for nothing so people could get the airtime, and the airtime was where the money is. The content delivery is where the subscribers go to, and then they pay their subscription. So we all understand the model. As far as the fight is concerned, oh no, don't be silly. I mean, Anthony Joshua can go in his nightgown and beat Jake Paul. The issue is, does he hurt Jake Paul? How curated it is? I debated it with boxers, with Paul Smith and Duke McKenzie and Spencer about would Joshua go in there with a mindset, which is he knows he doesn't have to get out of second gear, so he doesn't have to do to Jake Paul what people fear he might do, which is knock him into the next life.
But he's not a punch bag, Jake Paul.
Yeah, at this level is.
Well, he beat, albeit an aging Mike Tyson, he beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Mike Tyson, when we went out there to do that fight, and Simon gave me a lot of stick for it because I was saying Mike Tyson was actually going to put an end to this Jake Paul phenomenon that was going on. And when Mike Tyson got out the car, when we hit Texas, he climbed out the car and he could barely walk, Jim. He struggled to get up the stairs. I knew that I was in trouble for making those comments. I knew that. I sold the fight and I shouldn't have sold the fight. But this one, Anthony Joshua needs to keep his career alive. And by doing that, he has to get rid of Jake Paul very, very early.
What do you say to the people who say Anthony is ruining his legacy just by taking this fight? Fans don't respect what he's done in the sport already. He's an Olympic gold medalist, two-time unified heavyweight champion of the world. I sort of sympathize with him because I feel like if he doesn't beat him quicker than he beat Francis, people are just going to write it off. I'll ask you bluntly, have there been any discussions about there's an agreement, there's a secret contract? Have any of those discussions happened regarding this fight? It's an 8-round professional fight. AJ wouldn't have taken it if that was the stance it had to be, if it was an exhibition, if it was you've got to hold him up for 8 rounds. It wouldn't suit Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is going in there to knock out Jake Paul.
But if I can beat Jake Paul, then excuse my French, what the fuck is Anthony Joshua going to do to Jake Paul? I think my dad said that AJ could beat him with his prick, and I completely will back that up. Even if AJ had a broken arm in there, it still wouldn't wouldn't go past a minute. To be quite honest with you, and as a safety aspect, there's no way that fight can go ahead. At the end of the day, my God, how good does it make me look? He gets beat by Jake Paul. Well, that automatically makes me 2-time heavyweight champion of the world, doesn't it? There's no proper way. I've got to laugh about it. How are we even talking about this? He got his nut boxed off by me a little over 2 years ago. And now all of a sudden, he's talking about fighting Anthony Joshua. It's like, come on. Like, you can't be serious. He can't beat me. I'm not Anthony Joshua, am I? So it's just ludicrous. It really is.
True. He had a past of many arrests and accusations, but everyone has a past. We accepted that. But when you bring the past into the presence with domestic violence, you are out, period. The reality is Gervonta fumbled the biggest bag of his career and ruined a relationship with the biggest streaming platform in the world. Make no mistake, this is the biggest fight of my career. I'm walking into the lion's den. I'm doing something that no one else has ever done before. I, Jake Joseph Paul, will knock out, defeat, and embarrass Anthony Joshua Friday, December 19th, live on Netflix.
Meaning the training he's doing behind the scenes has had to evolve in a way we've never seen before. Jake and his team know that size alone isn't enough against someone like AJ. They know Jake cannot stand still. He cannot freeze. He cannot wait for openings that will never come. So now Jake is working on the things that actually matter against a tall, elite heavyweight. Things like constant foot feints to prevent AJ from planting his feet. Angle changes that force Joshua to reset instead of marching forward behind that powerful jab. Explosive entries and quick exits designed to keep Jake in motion at all times. His coaches are drilling rhythm breaks, unpredictable timing, and awkward combinations that don't follow traditional heavyweight patterns. Because they know if Jake tries to box like a textbook fighter, Joshua will read him like a children's book. Jake's only chance is to become the one thing AJ hates fighting: a smaller, faster, unpredictable opponent who refuses to stand still long enough to be hit clean.
This question's for Joshua. Oscar De La Hoya, Nate Diaz, and Tyson Fury all said that Jake is going to knock you out. Would you be willing to take the bet with Tyson Fury that's saying that Jake is going to beat you?
No, I'm not worried about what Tyson Fury's got to say. That's what I'm saying. It ain't even about the money. I'm betting on myself. Yep. I'm focusing on myself. I'm fully betting on myself. I ain't worried about what anyone's got to say.
He did say he's going to put £1 million on it. Would you be willing to take that bet with Tyson Fury?
Respectfully, I'm not worried about what Tyson Fury's got to say, or I'm not here for any of that betting and nonsense. I'm here to fight, and that's all it is. Once I get the job done, I'm gonna collect my check, cash it, and I'm gonna focus on the next one. My bet is on me doing a number on him. That's all there is to it.
Yeah. And for Jake, Tyson Fury's willing to put £1 million on you to win. How does it make you feel that his brother Tommy won't even fight you for $10 million?
A lot of people in this sport, believe it or not, are actually bitch made. Anthony can attest to that.
That's correct.
That's why we're up here on this stage, because we're both always down to run it and throw hands. Tommy's, lost. He's a lost puppy. No one watches his fights. I'm the only thing that he's got, so he should be on his knees begging for the fight. We did offer him it, and he said he wanted more time. So we tried. We've been trying. Same with KSI. These guys just don't want to step up to the plate. I'm not afraid of anyone or anything, so I'll go to the bigger challenge, a bigger fight, and do bigger things with Joshua, and that's why we're here today.
There's been some talk about possibly Joshua using Jake Paul as a tune-up to fight you. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know about tune-up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight look. Bit chubby, bit bulky.
I wanted to give a little opinion on everything I've been seeing on social media lately. Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. Just wanted to come in here and remind everybody that bum couldn't beat me when I basically had a broken hand. I had one hand and he still lost. Jake Paul, I'm still your daddy, and everybody weighing this fight up, don't bother, because he ain't worth a shilling. And the loss will always be there, Mr. Paul. Take it easy and have a good day.
Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, 50-50 fight. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I just said in another interview, great if it is. I mean, if it is, then you've got no problem seeing it. But when AJ...
Everybody pat round.
I I mean, decapitate's a strong word, but you know, when he renders Jake Paul unconscious like he did to Francis Ngannou, don't then say, oh well, it was Jake Paul. Do you know what I mean? I mean, when AJ beat Francis Ngannou, Ngannou just had a fight that could have gone either way with Tyson Fury. Then AJ poleaxed him, and everyone just said he's just an MMA fighter. Do you know what I mean? Jake Paul's not Francis Ngannou. But as I said before, if you want to see Jake Paul exit the boxing world, make the fight.
Things like level changes to disguise that right hand. And most importantly, mastering the art of stepping off the center line every time AJ throws that thunderous jab. Jake's coaches are drilling him in high-pressure sparring, bringing in bigger, taller, stronger heavyweight partners who will force him to adapt quickly. They want him comfortable working off the back foot and comfortable being hit hard, because Jake knows he will get hit. And he knows the first clean shot Anthony Joshua lands will tell the whole story of whether he belongs in there or not.
I get it, right? If someone knocks on your door and says, do you want to fight Jake Paul for 100 million? You're like, you'd be stupid to say no. No, I don't want that 100 million for what would be and will be and should be easy work for AJ. Well, why are you going to turn down 100 million? AJ should and could, more should, knock out Jake Paul in a round. Like if Jake Paul was over here fighting under our British Boxing Board of Control, I don't think it would be a Southern Area cruiserweight champion. AJ is a former unified heavyweight champion of the world that I still believe is a top 10 heavyweight in the world. Like AJ should be able to destroy him. AJ is going to be 60 pounds or so bigger than him. AJ hits like a truck. AJ is a better boxer. Like this is a no contest from the beginning.
Did you see Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul is happening? Who you got and how?
Man, you got to go with Anthony Joshua. You just got to go with Anthony Joshua. I think Anthony Joshua by knockout. Yeah, I think Jake will probably get knocked out in the third round.
Who did Terrence Crawford fight his 11th fight? I don't know. Who did Arthur Beterbiev fight? Jake Paul has found a way to make himself the cash cow early in his career to where we shouldn't care.
Jake Paul has become the fighter right now that everybody wants to fight because right now he is the cash cow. He made $40 million just off of Netflix.
He has found a way to do something with his following, get under people's skin to make people care about these fights.
What advice would you give to somebody like AJ?
That he has a lot of talent and not to get discouraged. He only loses when he quits. When you quit, all the doors of opportunities close. You know what I mean? You have to be game for the. Don't get discouraged if you lose. Listen, you just lost. You may got $30 million. You should give Usyk a kiss. Say, can we do this again? Don't let this internalize you. Oh, I can't fight now. This white boy kicked my ass. People laughing at me. No, he kicked my ass for $50 million or $30 million. I hope he kicks my ass again. But this time it might not work out that way. I'm gonna kick his ass. I just think the more time you lay off, the worse you get. You have to fight to be the best. You have to do it more and more and more.
He beat Wallace, and he beat him convincingly. Yes, and that's all he can do. And I think that he should take the praise from that and build from it, but he shouldn't want the criticism to stop because I think it fuels him.
I'm one with you, and I said that to Joshua in one of the interviews that I'd done with him. I said to him, listen, like I knew he was very angry with TalkSport and the criticism he was getting from TalkSport, etc. And I had that conversation with him and said, listen, Josh, you should be feeding off that. That's what good fighters do. You feed off that. Go and prove them wrong. Like that's where your fuel should be coming from. And I think to a certain extent he's sort of done that. I said, look, you're like. If people are talking about you, it's a good thing because that means that you're doing something right.
He wasn't ready for Anthony Joshua because Anthony Joshua was a different thing.
Yeah.
Like it's just, he's got more one-shot knockout
it was
power.
Bad game
he took it
plan
more
as well,
seriously
though. I know he likes to switch in, but again, like this is where the boxing is. If you don't have that kind of intellect in the boxing, that footwork and foot positioning is. Put your foot on one side, you're gonna get killed. You put your foot on the other side, you're safe. You can kind of manage the power and see the punches coming. But he kept switching stances, but just leaving himself in just the wrong positions.
Yeah, he wasn't ready.
Wasn't ready. There was a lot of hype off the Fury fight.
Also, Joshua got to watch him box in the Fury fight and see some patterns. Fury,
yeah.
I think, probably took him lightly.
Yes, I think so.
He's one of the greatest of all time. This guy's never had a boxing match. At the beginning of the fight, he's like, time to go to school. Like, oh, really? They're talking right now about doing Anthony Joshua, Jake Paul. Jake Paul apparently wants that fight. And he agreed to, I think it was 99% to 1, where Joshua gets 99% of the money and he gets 1%.
Inside camp, they are preparing Jake to do the one thing people think he cannot do: take Anthony Joshua deep into the late rounds. Jake understands that AJ has always had one historic weakness. The deeper the fight goes, the more Anthony Joshua slows down. And if Jake can somehow survive the early storm, if he can smother AJ's power, clinch intelligently, drag the pace down, and force AJ to work when he doesn't want to, suddenly this fight becomes something completely different.
Jake Paul versus AJ in December. How do you see that fight going?
I got AJ, yeah. Like I said, experience and just like overall, just he's been in there before, and AJ's an actual boxer. He's been doing it for a while. I mean, yeah, I got AJ.
Bit of glaze in that question, and you know, that seems like a very friendly question to Jake, but you know what? It's a fair question. I'm not mad at the guy for phrasing his question that way. And again, yes, that's because Jake has a massive name and a massive spotlight. Without that, Jake is not fighting Anthony Joshua in his 14th fight. But on the other side of that, the risk involved with fighting Anthony Joshua here, and some of the fights that Jake had in his first 10 or 11 fights, most pros were either having or having worse opponents for. So when people discredit Jake's career by being like, he didn't fight this guy, he didn't fight that guy, he didn't fight a number of this contender, number that, look at your favorite fighter in their first 14 fights and you pick out the opponents that they had and the level of them. Sure, you'll have your outliers, your Vasily Lomachenkos and other guys that fought tough competition right away, but most, and I mean most meaning 95% of the sport of boxing, had tomato cans until he had 15 to 20 wins. Give Jake his credit. He's fought guys that even were better on his resume than some of your favorite fighters, and now he's fighting Joshua this early. That deserves the credit that I know and the acknowledgement that I know Jake is looking.
What do you say to the people who say Anthony is ruining his legacy just by taking this fight? Don't think he can win, in truth, because fans don't respect what he's done in the sport already. I'll ask you bluntly, have there been any discussions about, oh, there's an agreement, there's a secret contract? Any of those discussions happened regarding this fight? It's an 8-round professional fight. You know, no different to a normal professional fight. AJ wouldn't have taken it if that was the stance it had to be, if it was an exhibition, if it was, you've got to hold him up for 8 rounds. Anthony Joshua is going in there to knock out Jake Paul.
I've got a problem with this one, because Anthony Joshua is a 2-time world champion. Jake Paul's a YouTuber and doesn't deserve the right to be in a ring with Anthony.
Well, don't buy the fight then.
It's dangerous. We saw what Anthony Joshua had done to Francis Ngannou. This is a fight.
I know, but what I'm saying is...
People are going in there, their health is at risk.
But the only reason they're
put someone in there in a ring...
I know, Jay.
You say, the only reason we're doing it is for money. That don't sit right with me.
Fine, then don't buy it.
Is Jake Paul at risk, and isn't everything about money, and who cares?
Of course he is, but that's what bothers me, right? If Anthony Joshua was to do what he done to Ngannou to Jake Paul, that's like life-changing injuries, potentially fatal. There's got to be some sort of contract being signed here, like, look, pull your punches a little bit, mate. If it was real, it'd be dangerous. But the annoying thing is people are going to go on about this as if it is real. And for me, it can't be.
This is why the conditioning inside Jake's camp has been intense. Heavy bag rounds with non-stop volume, long sparring sessions with barely any rest, and high-altitude endurance work. Jake knows his only real path to victory is outlasting Anthony Joshua, not trying to outpunch him early. And the wild part is that Jake believes he can do it. Not because he's delusional, but because he has always thrived when the odds are stacked against him and everyone insists he doesn't belong. Meanwhile, the entire combat sports world is losing its mind over this matchup. Analysts, fighters, legends, and fans are calling it everything from dangerous to embarrassing to iconic. Some say Jake Paul deserves respect for taking on a challenge this massive. Others claim it's a mismatch that never should have been sanctioned. And then there are the few who believe Jake Paul could shock the world the same way Andy Ruiz shocked Anthony Joshua, by landing one perfect shot no one sees coming. Inside Jake's camp, that is exactly the energy they're channeling. Asterisk, 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 asterisk.
Not at all. It's like night and day. So now I'm going to talk about the rules of this fight, and I'll give you my prediction, which is going to shock a lot of people after this. So, what are the rules? The bout will take place at a heavyweight, obviously. It's going to be 8 3-minute rounds. You might think, well, that's better for Jake Paul, and I'm thinking, not really. It's better for Anthony Joshua because he's just going to go all out for them 8 3-minute rounds. And imagine that, Anthony Joshua blasting at you, 6'6", whatever he is, 250 pounds, throwing big bombs at you. But anyway, both fighters will be using 10-ounce gloves for the duration of the contest. Why have they got that? It says both fighters will be wearing 10-ounce gloves for the duration of the contest. What do you expect? Them to take them off halfway through and switch them to 12s? But I guess these days, anything happens in boxing, right? The boys will follow similar rules to Jake Paul and Mike Tyson in November, but that fight was 8 2-minute rounds and 14-ounce gloves. Not similar if it's smaller gloves and 2-minute rounds. Who wrote this for DAZN? It marks the first time Joshua will have contested less than 10 rounds since 2015. The contest is a professional bout and will go on the boys' records. But that being said, this is heavyweight boxing. Anything can happen. And I'm going to give you my prediction right now. Now, we just want to see it because there's a lot of hate out here on influencer boxing. A lot of people have got different opinions on boxing these days. But I want to ask you, do you box? Do you train boxing yourself? Well, if you do, you will understand that footwork is the most important thing in boxing. If your feet is not right, nothing is.
And it's a lose-lose for Anthony Joshua. However, given all of that, both men are going to make $92 million each. So forget my opinion. Who gives a damn when you can bank $92 million for having a little move around in a boxing ring? Fair play. You can't on that. However, let's talk about it. The reason I say that it's a lose-lose we'll start with Jake Paul first. The reason I say it's a win-win for Jake Paul is because, listen, if he wins, then he's beating a former heavyweight boxing world champion, certainly one of the best heavyweights of his generation, and of course, a man that is way bigger than Jake Paul. Of course, it's a win. And if he loses, it's still a win for Jake Paul because he had the balls. He was man enough. He was willing to test himself. He would prove everyone wrong, all his critics, like me. By the way, I'm not like out there on an island by myself. Everyone says the same thing.
They know they're the underdogs. They know AJ hits harder, has more experience, and is the more technically polished fighter. But Jake's team also knows that heavyweight boxing is the one place where anything can happen. One punch can change everything. One mistake from AJ could flip the entire fight in seconds. And that's exactly why Jake Paul is preparing like his life depends on it. Because on fight night, there will be no hiding, no excuses, no gimmicks. Just Jake Paul standing across from one of the most dangerous heavyweights of the modern era. And the world will finally see what happens when Jake Paul steps into real boxing.